Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm finally going to get this Snaptain P40 Lite, 3-axis gimbal GPS drone out for a test flight. Today, I did a table review on this a few weeks ago. Found that it weather cooperated enough to get out here and do a flight review. There is a little bit of a wind today, but this has brushless motors and it should have no problems handling the wind. But I'll link that table review up here in a tag, in a card up above, in case you want to check out the table review. I'm just going to kind of go over everything that comes with it, closer look at the drone and the controller and all that stuff. So what we want to do first is we got the app open, and this thing it doesn't have a ton of like smart features, but then it has some kind of cool gimmicky stuff like the throw and fly or throw and go. I'll show you that. You click on the 3 dots, and under control at the bottom, you can turn the throwing away, it's called. You turn that on, and that will let you hold the drone at your side. It'll beep, you throw it in the air, and it'll fire up the motors. We're gonna try that out here at the beginning. That seems like a pretty, kind of a gimmicky, but kind of a cool feature. We got our controls here. Now, smooth is gonna be very, very slow, y'all. Perfect for filming. We'll start out on that. You can switch that between the app here. You can also switch it using the controller by pressing, and you have those 3 rates. And we'll switch between those. So we'll probably fly a lot in normal or sport today because of the wind. Now the camera, you have some camera options in there. We can gimbal calibration and formatting the TF card and all that stuff. Now in the bottom right here, where it says auto, this is where you have some more of your options for your recording rate. I'm going to put that up to 100 megabit. That's going to give us the highest bit rate. I do have a SanDisk Pro or Extreme card in there, so it should have no problem handling that. We're going to do 4K at 30. 1080p at 60 is going to give you a smoother frame rate, less shuddery effects, but also, you know, less like what 1/4 the detail. So we're going to go with 4K to match my head cam, though my head cam is filming at 60 and the drone only does 30. So let's take a look at some of the other options. You got some options there for your photos and some of your ISO and some of that stuff. Like I said, we're going to do 4K at 30 today instead of the 1080p. You can see it right there. You got the 4K or 1080p at 60. All right, it says we have weak GPS. So we have 13 satellites. That should be sufficient. Off to the left, you got some of those your short film, time lapse, smart follow. We'll try to maybe do like the smart follow, but I'm surprised to not see some of your basic stuff like Circle Me, you know, some of those dronies and stuff, those that people like to have nowadays in their apps. But it doesn't really matter to me because I don't really use that stuff very often. Anyway, so let's try recording some video first here, and then we'll do that throwaway or throwing away or throw and go, whatever you want to call it. Snaptain first came up with that years ago on one of their toy drones. So let's start recording a video. You can also do it with the buttons on top if you wish. And we got some video recording. Now I'm just going to pick up the drone and hold it at my side. You can see it's facing down, it's beeping, and watch, we're going to throw it into the air. And there it goes. Pretty neat. It's using the gyro and the accelerometer and stuff to detect it's being thrown, and that tells it to fire up the motors. And as I said, this is a 3-axis gimbal, and this is very slow, y'all. Again, very good for filming, but it's not if you want to just fly around freely. Let's just tilt that gimbal. These gimbals have gotten really good. Years ago, these gimbals were really, you know, if it wasn't DJI or maybe Autel, then you probably kind of figured it probably wasn't going to do a very good job. The technology is really matured now that these budget brands can put a pretty darn good gimbal. Used to be that a lot of them have trouble with, you know, holding the horizon, and they have horizon tilt and stuff. Femi had a big problem with that for years. Let's go into the because you can see there's a smooth rate for filming. Let's bring it over here. Let's go into the normal rate. Now you can see much better, y'all. And I'll just do a little fly around here, much quicker. Overall, I mean, so far I'm pretty impressed. This thing's stable. And this is also 249 grams, so it is below the registration You don't have to have remote ID on this, and you do not have to put your FAA number here in the United States. Now let's go up to the highest rate. Look at that, that's our sport mode. And that is sporty. I like that, but obviously that's not gonna be ideal if you're looking to film. But this would be a good test. Let's just do a little rocking here and see if the gimbal holds. How's the gimbal doing on highest rate, doing really fast rolls back and forth? Looks on my preview like it's done a pretty good job. We'll keep it in sport mode here and just do a fly over maybe this way instead of the cemetery. Fly it over this way a little ways and call it back home here. I took off, let's see, I should have brought my tarmac out, but I took off somewhere right up in here. I think right there in the middle. Let's just fly it out here a ways. I believe this is the first Snaptain drone that's ever had like a gimbal, especially a 3-axis gimbal. Got a nice strong signal here. We're up pretty high and flying out here. Now we are out about 600 feet and up about 180, 190 feet. We're not going to do any kind of range testing here. It looks like we've got, somewhere around 70% battery. I'm just going to stop it right there. Let's see what it does now. Is it going to hold the horizon? Because we've got something weird going on here with the gimbal and the video. Whoa, the gimbal is going crazy. Let's call it back home here. Let's return to home. Just hold the button down. Yeah, the gimbal, I was really complimenting the gimbal, and then we had some really, now the gimbal looks like it's stabilized. Now I don't know if that, you see the horizon there? I mean, that could just be the lay of the land. I don't know if that's necessarily any kind of tilt. But as I move it now, see now I'm starting to get some, this is the stuff, see that little bit of a hiccup there? It's coming back. That was very disappointing there because I wasn't out too far. I could hear it coming back. But definitely had some hiccups. I'll be curious to see, now it's turning around. I'm down there, I'm aiming it down. The video quality looks good. But what I'm curious about is on the actual recorded video here, which I can't see, is it showing more than what we saw? It should. The drone's right up here. The screen recording was showing obviously when the gimbal was going crazy, it would be doing it in the video too. But it was showing me, it was a lot of focus and then it was wobbling all over the place like the gimbal just got all messed up. Let's just see how far off it is. So far, this drone flies good. It seems pretty stable. And the video quality looks good, but now the things I kind of mentioned that these manufacturers have gotten better with the gimbals, I was speaking a bit premature because we saw some weird issues there with the drone and the gimbal, and then the video stopped recording. I'm gonna go into the, is it the control? Let's go into the normal speed. Let's put the gimbal back up. And I'm going to stop the video and let's start it again to make it easier to sync. Okay. And let's just do a manual takeoff and let's fly it out again and see if that gimbal maybe, what sometimes happens with these drones is these gimbals freak out in sport mode because you get so much pitch. And what happens is the drone was going and you let out the sticks, it breaks like this, and that throws these gimbals out of whack. You'll see the DJI mini drones adjust the gimbal for that, but they don't freak out like this. And I think that might be what happened. So let's go ahead and do both sticks down and in and just do a manual takeoff. Looks like we have 60% battery. So I'm gonna fly it out here and I was going pretty aggressive. Let's just take it out a little ways here. And let's see if that gimbal behaves better in normal rate, where we don't have such aggressive pitch Now this uses an OTG cable, so you get a few stutters, but you're not going to have that breakup like you'd have on a Wi-Fi. I'm going to take it out about right around there. Now I let off the sticks, and it's done a very good job because I eased off of them. I didn't slam off the sticks, and we're not flying nearly as aggressive. Let's do that return to home again. Now you can press the land, and what that does is I think that's just going to tell the drone to land wherever you are. That would be like an emergency thing that you would do if, let's say, you are out and you don't know where you're at, or you feel like you're too far to make it back, or the drone's, or you're disoriented and you can't make it back and your battery's almost dead. You could land the drone, and that would at least give you the ability to retrieve the drone much easier than losing it. So. But these drones are going to, on low battery, when it gets really low, it's going to try to fly back home. And it will land itself before it loses. It's not going to just tumble out of the sky. Here it is. I can hear it overhead. So that worked well. I'll be curious to see the video. Another thing we always look for in these videos, and this is something I can't comment on since it's my maiden flight, do we have any of that micro jello wobble? Because the gimbal did not like sport mode. But lots of times you can't see in your FPV feed that there is a little jello, a little vibration getting through. Sometimes it's not even the gimbal that's doing it, it's the dampening on the gimbal itself. It's not absorbing the vibrations. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty good return to home. It slows up and eases itself down just like you'd want it to do. Yeah, not bad at all. Okay, and the funny thing is, I look at the screen, you can see the delay between your video feed and the drone of about a second. So you can tell that when the farther you get out, you're going to lose. Everything you do is going to be a little off. Now see that it stopped recording the video. So maybe that's what happened a while ago, is once the drone landed, maybe that's what made it stop recording video. All right, let's go ahead and start some video again here. And let's go ahead and just do let's do a automatic takeoff in the app by holding it in the app. And let's go into the, oh, it's in the smooth right now. I thought I was in the, I thought for sure we were in the normal one. Now look at this, I'm getting some breakup in the screen. And that's very weird because it could be something to do with how close we are. But look at that. Well, guys, you should see that in the FPV feed. I've got a blocky FPV feed. Let's fly it over here a little ways. See if everything clears up. Let's put the camera up at the gimbal. That shouldn't matter. Whoa, wait, isn't that weird? The camera facing down like this when I took off, I don't know if it's blocking the antenna a little bit or something. See that? Look at that. How it's breaking up at times. But whenever I put it, I'm gonna aim it back forward. Let's go back down. There's a bit of a delay. And now it's fine. Now are we in the normal rate? Yeah, I know we were in the normal rate when we flew out there. But I don't know if it resets the rate or something. I don't know why I was in smooth rate again. Maybe I wasn't smooth when I flew out there. It didn't seem like it though, because we were able to fly pretty quickly. At 42% battery, so the battery's life's pretty decent so far. I'm gonna just take it up here and do a little circle around in the smooth rate. I'm just double checking the app that it didn't reset or something. Let's just do a pano, like just a 360 look around. See, the horizon looks nice. Let's look off to this direction and see. That's when we first came back. Now see, that is level. So that gimbal we knew it messed up the first time, but it did not get a nice horizon initially. It wasn't terrible. That's just the funny thing with these drones. You just don't know what some of these drones are gonna do. So far I'd say this is not a bad first gimbal drone for Snaptain, because the gimbal seems to perform just fine in the smooth or normal rates. But just keep in mind, in sport mode, if you're flying full speed and let off and it breaks, you're going to end up with the gimbal freaking out. And it was flopping all over the place. In fact, for a minute there, I almost thought maybe the drone was tumbling out of the sky, which of course it wasn't. Now, I've reviewed Snaptain for years, and they were just all these toy drones. And like Holy Stone and some of these other brands, they've put a lot of resources into making some higher end drones. This one's not too bad. The problem that I've encountered with Snaptain is that, first of all, they don't sell on Amazon anymore for some reason. They're mostly on Walmart and Best Buy and from Snaptain's website. I can't remember, I should have looked at the price ahead of time, but unfortunately, these Snaptain drones tend to be way too expensive. And I'm concerned that this drone is going to be too expensive, considering that we can see it is flawed. The gimbal acts up in the highest rate. The horizon dropped out of being level when it finally did correct itself. And when we aim the camera down, like right here, and we don't know if it'll do it or not, the FPV feed many times will start to break up. And there we start to see it right there. And I don't know why in the world that would, look at that. Why would that do that? It's only when I aim the gimbal down. Like, why would that affect the FPV feed? Again, that doesn't make any sense, because your feed is coming into the antenna here, to the OTG cable, and why would the gimbal, unless it's, I almost feel like it's something to do with block signal. It's having some effect on the symbol, blocking it somehow. I don't know. Usually these drones will transmit a signal out of the rear of the drone. A lot of times if you face yourself, you know, certain angles can make the angles to the antenna poor. But my concern is I think that this drone is gonna probably be too expensive compared to, let's say, a DJI mini drone. The problem with the DJI is, if you're in the United States, they're becoming really difficult to get these DJI, and it may be not too long before you can't even buy them new. You only buy used ones, and no one's gonna wanna sell them because they can't get another one. But, you know, something like the Maiden Atom 2, I mean, that drone is, that drone, I'm gonna be reviewing that soon. And I've already test flown it, and it was flawless. And it has a boatload of smart features. And I want to think that drone runs about $350 with the single battery. I'm just afraid that this drone is going to be similarly priced, maybe more, I don't know, it may not be. And as we saw, that this drone does have some faults. But if someone were to give you this drone or gift it to you, it's not like it's a piece of junk. You're gonna get good video. And if you just don't fly aggressive, I think the gimbal works pretty good. And from what I've seen, the video, I did a little test in my basement. I thought the video looked really clear. Again, I don't know if there's gonna be any vibrations in the video. If there is, I'll try to include some text at some point. You probably saw it already. If there is any micro vibrations, I'll let you guys know, because sometimes those are hard to see if we got picture-in-picture. But I always try to open it up, the video at some point full screen. That's where it's gonna be more visible, especially if you are viewing this in 4K. We're down to 22% battery. I don't know if we have enough time here. Let's see, are we in normal rate? See, we're back in, well, I think I had it in smooth rate, so never mind. Let's see if we can just have enough battery to try like the smart follow. This is the one, see, it has a parallel follow and it has a tracking. Let's try a parallel follow. Frame the target on the screen. See, it says low battery here, go. Select the target first. So you have to put a box around yourself. Fly more than 5 meters high and the gimbal angle shoot. I don't know if that's gonna be 5 meters high. Let's try it again. Let's select my target. Let's go. Let's see, is it? Well, I'm moving and it's not doing anything. It didn't. Let's try that again. I know we're pretty low on battery, but let's see, we're definitely up high enough now. Parallel follow should fly alongside me. So let's put a box, let's see, go. Parallel follow. go. Well, let's try that again because I think we didn't get a good, let's see, parallel follow, draw a box. Now wait, go. And look at that, I'm just walking right out of the screen. So that doesn't seem to work at all. Let's lower it down a bit. I just want to try it again because I'm kind of like, what is going on here? We've got the gimbal tilted down more than 10. Let's try it again. Go. And look at this. I just walk right out of the screen. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I mean, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but let's just get out of that screen there. You know what, guys? I mean, that's really unfortunate. Maybe that's why the drone doesn't have a lot of smart features, is it doesn't do them well, because that's really disappointing that it did not track me. So, yeah. Not unexpected. I kind of didn't have super high hopes being the first drone and seeing how much from my past history with these drones like this, how much they tend to usually have something wrong with it. The problem, what I said with this drone is the gimbal acts up in sport rate if you let off the brakes quickly. You know, the gimbal just flipped out on me. It took it, what, 10 seconds, 5-10 seconds before it finally fixed itself and the drone became level. And then even at that point, you know, the horizon was off and stuff. So that was the problem. Aiming the camera down at the ground for some reason causes the FPV feed to become blocky. It doesn't lose the signal, but you can't see what you're looking at. That's not good. And as we just saw, at least the parallel tracking did not work at all. I mean, it didn't even attempt to move. And maybe I'm doing something wrong there, but it didn't seem like it. I think I was following the guidelines. So overall, I can't really recommend this drone, unfortunately, unless you can get it really cheap. You know, for 200 bucks, yeah. 300, no. Anything over $300, I just can't recommend it. But I will include a purchase link since Snaptain was kind enough to send this out to me, in case you do want to check it out. But like I said, I can't personally recommend it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, you like drone reviews, car reviews, real car, RC car, boat, tech, do quite an array of different kind of stuff. Please consider subscribing. While you're at it, click the bell, that way you're notified whenever I do upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.